even want to look down, and it was the iPod, and I couldn't believe it. So I didn't touch it. Big tip for everyone out there: if you drop anything electrical in water, leave it. Don't press any buttons. Don't switch it on, because you'll short it immediately. So I've left it somewhere to dry. So I don't know if it might actually work next week.
I did. And I rinsed it off, so it was working. Well, no, this is the thing.
More euphemisms, yeah. It's just about time an upgrade.
I was going to have a quick upgrade before I went there. And so I dropped it in there, and I blow-dried it off, and took it to the shop, and I found out there was a trade-in service that you could trade in your old mobile phone. They used the bits in other phones, so someone somewhere may have a phone with my toilet-addled bits inside it.
Oh dear!
Isn't that exciting?
That was the start of the day. I was gutted, and I thought, do you know what? It's not that bad. It's quite funny. Your house insurance will cover it. It'll be okay. And then I got to work, and I was talking to people on the phone. I work in a call centre, and we've got those little headset things. And the customer on the other end of the phone was going, I cannot hear you. You sound like you're miles away. And I was like, panicking, swapping headsets with people, transferring calls. Couldn't work out what it was. Checked the phone, checked the cables, checked the headset. Didn't know what it was. I got tomato soup stuck in it.
You got tomato soup?
Yeah, I was eating some tomato soup at work, and I'd realised it actually got up the headset, and I hadn't realised. And customers couldn't hear me because I was blocked by a small bit of tomato and a bit of basil.
Do your bosses know about this? Is this a confession?
I got into quite serious trouble at work because I wrecked a headset. So I had to replace the end and carry on.
I should make this very clear now. I don't know if you've mentioned this before, but you don't drink.
No,
I'm
allergic to alcohol.
It's not like any of this stuff is because of a massive hangover or anything, or a massive drug intake. All right, you are normal and sane, clean living.
Well, yeah, I'm straight, yeah.
Sure.
But it's been a horrible week. I've done all sorts. I've dropped my phone, and I've got angry with people, and I shouted at a man at college, and I didn't mean to. It's just been one of those weeks where I've literally lost control. I went swimming in the sea, and the tide was coming in, and a big wave came towards me, and there was a huge crab, claws akimbo, coming towards me. I was sprinting out of the sea. I fell over and exposed myself again on a beach. It was just, it's been one of those weeks. I just thought nothing's going to go right. But I realised it's because the girl at work who borrowed my mirror to do her makeup smashed it. So she's got possession of the mirror, so now it'll all be lifted and I'll be fine.
Do you know what would cheer you up? The new single from the Foo Fighters.
Of course.
He's found a formula and he's sticking to it, and why not if it sounds that good? It's the Foo Fighters' new single from them, The Pretender, and Steve Lamacq has an exclusive track from the Foo Fighters' new album. He'll be playing Cheer Up Boys, Your Makeup is Running on Tuesday from 4ish. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Merchant. You remember Dave the Walker? He walked from Land's End to John O'Groats for no reason. He sends me tunes periodically. No, he doesn't. That would be illegal. He just phones me up occasionally and reminds me of songs I should be listening to. And he's got some great sort of obscure stuff that he's recommended to me, but occasionally he'll just throw something in there in the mix which I've perhaps forgotten about, and this is one of them. The Connells or the Canals, we're not sure, from 1993 and 74, 75. Do you know what? They've got their 10th album coming out this year. I've never heard a single one of them. I'm not sure anyone has. Are they beyond that song? But there we are. It's a Steve Show, BBC Six Music, and we obviously have my cronies here who recommend music to me, but you, the listeners, as well, can get in touch and recommend songs which perhaps I haven't heard or I've forgotten. And one of the people who's got in touch is on the line now. Hopefully it's Jason Land. Is Jason there?
Hello.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm enjoying myself. Myself because I'm outside a pub in the sun drinking alcohol.
That's beautiful. And you're still able to listen to Six Music?
Yeah, because I've got a portable DAB radio, so...
Ooh. The only people in the world who think has.
I'm down with the youth.
Clearly, and yet you don't sound like you're youthful. Hey, what, you in your 40s?
Yeah, you cheeky individual.
I know, but
36.
I can't, no, 36. Oh well, I'm fast approaching. And you're there. You're wandering around. You just go for a little pub crawl, do you, on your own on a Sunday?
No, not on my own. I have my daughter with me, who's called Scarlett.
Right.
And I have my dog with me, who's called Goose.
Okay.
And they're both with me.
And how old is Scarlett?
Scarlett is 2.5.
Right. And what's her favourite tipple at the pub?
Whatever I give her to quieten her down.
So you're forced to sit out in the. Are you forced to sit out in the pub garden?
I'm not quite sure at this place.
I don't know what the rules are
a play thing, a slide, and we're outside, and because of the dog, I come outside anyway. So.
And how did you arrive at the name Goose for the dog?
I like the fresh air, so it's okay.
How did you arrive at the name Goose for the dog? I'm intrigued.
I like naming dogs after other animals.
Well, there's an answer. Have you done that to a lot of
other... It's nothing
other...
to do with Top Gun, which is a terrible film, in my opinion.
And what does your pig cow think of that?
And my parrot, who's called Elephant.
Exactly,
yeah,
sure.
I don't mind.
Now, you are... I've got here a little bit of information about you. It says that you're a fan of, among other acts, Kings of Leon and the Beatles, and also Led Zepp.
Yeah,
now,
I do like a
I
bit.
don't know about you.
I'm partial to a small bit of the Zepp.
Well, I'm a bit freaked out because of this reunion that's brewing. They're doing this one night at the O2 Centre, and I'm really freaked out because I'm already panicking about not getting a ticket.
Yeah, but you, because of who you are, speak to your old mate Gervais, he'll probably get you some.
Listen, Jason, I would love that to be the case, but I have discovered that it's not as easy as you might think. I'm afraid to say that there's going to be so many people queuing up for Led Zepp tickets. I'm just ticklets, which are really good seats. That I am just going to be way down that list. I just don't know how to pull strings. I don't know who to get in bed with.
I'll tell you what, if I win some, if not win them, but if I get some, I'll sell them to you for a stupid amount of money. How's that?
Do you know what, Jason? I'm happy to do that. I'm absolutely happy to do that. I will pay anything up to and including £14.
Really?
Yes.
Well, all these the tales about you and The Office and the DVD royalties are clearly not true then.
You're right, you're damn right. I've got a very poor agent. Now listen, which tune are you going to recommend to us, Jason?
Which tune? It's called 1952 Vincent Black Lightning by Richard Thompson.
Now, I'm a fan of Richard Thompson, although I'm afraid to say I'm not as familiar with his great body of work as I should be. You're a fan of Thompson?
Oh, absolutely. He's very, very wonderful, and I've been following him for a very long time.
And where does this come in his vast back catalogue?
I think this, for a lot of people who like him, is really quite near the top. I think I've seen him, I don't know, maybe 10 times, and I think he's done this every time I've seen him. His fans really like this one. And it's a story song, so it's a great song and nice, good words and nice tune, but it's also a story which is good. All
right, sit back in the sun, Jason. Listen to 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. We'll talk to you after we've heard from Richard Thompson.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes a man or a woman with a guitar and a voice is all you need, and there's a good example of it. Richard Thompson and the choice of Jason Land, 1952 Vincent Black Lightning. Jason, you still there?
Yes.
Oh, what a beautiful song.
Well,
that's a wonderful choice, and you sound like a wonderful man, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, I am absolutely beautiful, both physically and mentally.
And I hope that you'll treat yourself to another pint of Guinness or whatever you drink, and maybe buy Scarlett, a gin and tonic or something.
No. I think something with Red Bull, because she's 2.5 and not quite hyper enough.
Right, sure. Yeah, you want to get her pint with E numbers as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, fruit shoot. Yeah.
Sure. Get her just running around, screaming around that. Do you know what? If I was in that pub, that's what I'd appreciate.
Well, exactly. Sleep is overrated anyway.
Exactly.
When we get back later, who needs it?
Well, listen, enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for listening to Six Music, and also thank you for buying a DAB digital portable radio. I don't think anyone else in the country's done that, so round of applause for being the first.
I didn't actually buy it. My partner, girlfriend, what do you call them when you're 36?
Sure.
My pre-wife bought it for me a few years ago.
Well, that's very sweet of her. She obviously knows what she's doing.
Well, wants to get me out of the house.
Sure. And to walk goose.
To walk goose, yeah.
Listen, we really appreciate talking to you, and thanks for getting in touch and everything, and I'm sure we'll speak to you again in the future.
Oh, I've got a feature for you, by the way.
Go on.
I've got a new feature for you. REM, Remembrance Sunday. Records linked to REM. Don't have to be REM. I've got about 2 years worth of that, if you're interested.
I'm so confused by do you know what? I think what we're going to have to do
Remembrance Sunday.
Right, listen, do you know, we've only got half an hour left of the show. I think you should email in with this idea, because we've run out, so that it could be a barnstormer if you keep us going for weeks on end. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed, Jason. Round of applause to Steve by Star. Thank you. We'll speak to you again, Jason.
Thank you.
BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant, and my little gang here, and we've had a great choice there from Jason Land, and it's time for Super Posh Rufus, who I know is a fan of that track. In fact, something you were thinking of playing in the future.
I've almost brought it in myself on several occasions, so I was thrilled that Jason chose Richard Thompson track, and also by colossal coincidence, the track I've chosen today was also has been emailed in, I think, this morning by someone called Duncan Graham, who wanted to listen to it as well. So Duncan, this is lucky, because I'm playing this anyway. It's Jurassic 5 Concrete Schoolyard. They were formed in '94 in Los Angeles. It says on Wikipedia they are currently planning to split up. This is Jurassic 5 and Concrete Schoolyard.
Steve Show, BBC Two Music, and that's Van Morrison from one of those albums that always gets into those kind of best albums of all time lists, Astral Weeks, and the track is The Way That Young Lovers Do, which I play actually for my parents who are celebrating their wedding anniversary today. I don't know exactly which one it is because they've had Sapphire and I'm sure they've had all the diamonds and golds. They've been married for yonks, but I suspect that my father's quite a frugal man like me, so I suspect he's tried to tell my mother it's the shredded wheat packet anniversary or whatever, because you're supposed to buy something. This is information you need to know, Rufus. You're supposed to buy something that sort of corresponds with that anniversary. I don't know if that's true.
It starts with paper, then then wood, then tin, and all that sort of thing. So yeah.
If you just joined us, then we're pleased to say that Super Posh Rufus is engaged to his girlfriend and she's accepted, which is beautiful. And they will be getting married at some point. I like to think I'll be invited along. And I don't know if you're going to go with the band or the DJ option. Is very tricky. I know it's early days.
Yeah,
always tricky. I'll always offer my services, as you know. I've had some experience of wedding DJs. Just to show you that I know what I'm talking about. The buffet's just been served, all right? You're thinking, well, everyone's eaten now, they've chilled out, they want something to get them back on the dance floor. Oh, what's this? Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Oh, what a night, December 63. Guaranteed to get them back on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So, have you thought about the first song that will...
No, I mean, off air we were talking about maybe listeners suggesting a good first song for my girlfriend and I to, or my fiancée and I to dance it, or my wife and I.
Yeah.
As it will be. So it is tricky. I mean, I'm a big fan of Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher. Ooh. And a bit of Stevie for Once in My Life. That's always been a bit of a, those two of my favourite kind of first song ideas. My brother and his ex-wife danced to I've Had the Time of My Life.
Right.
With the dance, which I'm never sure about.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they did it very well with the lift at the end and everything.
Yes. Wow.
We used to sing that song when I was at school instead of doing three cheers. At the end of... Did you have this at your school? At the end of the football match,
we didn't have music.
You'd go, no. But at the end of the football match, would you do three cheers for the opposite team? Hip, hip, hooray. You wouldn't do
No, when was I ever playing in a team that would ever...
I wouldn't know.
No, we did that in rugby, not in football,
We used to do it in rugby and football, but instead of... We got bored of it, so we used to link hands and approach the opposite team singing I've Had the Time of My Life.
Nice, yeah.
And with hilarious consequences, obviously.
Of course, always.
But please email and text in with suggestions for my wedding.
64046, the email is what?
Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk.
And it's always tricky because I always think that in planning a wedding, what's tricky is how to keep the elements of tradition that we all know and love that need to be there, but also marking it out from the pack and it not feeling like yet another wedding that we've all seen 1,000 times before. But again, a very tricky thing to get right.
Yes.
I mean, for instance, the obvious trick is to do it in a hot air balloon or dressed as Elvis and so on. But again, it's always very tricky,
Yeah.
How do you... I mean, are our parents well off? That's always an asset.
Melodies? Not hugely.
Damn,
but,
you see, that would be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They could have bankrolled something crazy. Yeah, terrible choice. You've made a massive blunder.
I sometimes think that a lot of weddings I've been to recently have had 2 or maybe even 3 best men.
Yes,
which I think
too many.
I think you've got to be brave. You've got to go for one. It's a very, very difficult decision, and I just think, I'm just breaking the tradition. I'm having 4 best men. And one's reading a speech, and one's doing a dance, and one wearing traditional dress or whatever. But just one.
We've talked about weddings before, but there's going to be the inevitable moment when if the person giving the service says something like, is there anyone here who knows any reason why they shouldn't?
Yeah.
No one says anything. Slight laughter.
Yeah.
Slight nervous laughter ripples through the ceremony.
And I tell you what, I realised at the last wedding I went to, because the bride and groom are facing each other, if one of them ever looks back at the congregation, they always get a laugh.
Yeah, always get a laugh.
It's like the old rule of clowning, do the gag, look at the audience, do the gag again.
It's like Bruce Forsyth on Play a Card Right, having his own camera.
Yes, yeah.
So a contestant says something witty, and Bruce just rolls his eyes at the camera, round of applause, laughter.
And does it for whenever anyone says where they're from, he always does it. So, where are you from? Red Hill. Oh, Red Hill, eh? Ooh. And then the look to camera.
But you're never going to have an audience better than your wedding day audience as well. They will laugh at anything you say or do. Anything that even has the barest resemblance to a joke, you're going to get a round of applause and laughs.
Yeah.
And particularly a man like yourself who's quite good, maybe throw in the Mandela. I've said it before. Why not throw in the Mandela?
You know what?
At some point.
It might make an appearance.
But also, as well, you can guarantee if you give a slight speech at the reception afterwards, when you say, I'd like to thank on behalf of myself and my wife. Again, little round of applause, little laughs there.
Yeah, and a tear.